We turn now to the so-called racial reckoning that is sweeping our country, and the TV and movie industry is certainly not immune. Our network, ABC, and our parent company, Disney included, a growing list of TV shows, films, and performances are being looked at in a different light and edited to exclude racially insensitive material. Episodes and scenes from iconic shows like Golden Girls, Scrubs, and The Office have already been pulled because of characters in blackface. The Oscar-winning classic Gone with the Wind was pulled from the streaming service HBO Max because of its depiction of the antebellum South and racial stereotypes, then returned to the service with an introduction that provides historical context. To discuss this issue, we bring in media and pop culture expert Jawn Murray. Good to have you back on, Jawn.
Anytime, Lindsay, anytime.
And of course, for black people, blackface has long been considered offensive, but somehow it seems that parts of Hollywood didn't get the memo on that until recently. So how did shows get away with this for so long? And how would you say that Hollywood and the media also can do a better job going forward?
Well, Lindsay, I think what we see what's happening in Hollywood right now really speaks to what Black people and African Americans have been saying about the American education system. It hasn't truly been reflective of our journey with slavery and some of the other things that we faced through Jim Crow and blackface and things like that. And so I think there has been a lack of awareness. I know that we live in a climate where people want to presume that all things against our nationality, our culture, our race, our racism. But the truth is that sometimes it's just a cultural ignorance. And I don't believe that Hollywood should be scrubbing these shows. In many aspects, it really is like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. I really think what they need to be doing is putting this stuff in the proper context, just like HBO Max did with Gone with the Wind. People need to see these stories. They need to understand the mistakes that Hollywood made. And this should be the conversation for evolution to actually teach people about the wrongs in this thing. I mean, yes, we've seen celebrities like a Julianne Hough do blackface as Orange is the New Black on Halloween and get in trouble. But we need to also show that there was a history of this type of stuff in TV programming and that you can grow and evolve from it.
So just to be clear, you think that some of these sitcoms should keep and continue on with these storylines and these scenes that include the blackface?
Listen, when you watch a TV show and it has a lot of nudity, a lot of violence, a lot of sexual content, you get a disclaimer at the front of the show. I think, and I also believe that the intent is, well, if this wasn't a bad attempt at comedy, if this was a play on something that was irreverent, the intent is important here. Now, if it was blackface for the idea of being offensive, then it should probably go. But if this was a bad attempt at humor, if this was an ignorant attempt to do a storyline to engage the audience, I think with the proper disclaimer, disclosing just that, I think you can put this stuff back on these streaming platforms and not erase it from everybody to be able to see it.
So then you kind of agree with critics who say that comedy and art should be able to tackle the taboo subjects without having to bow to an overly PC or hypersensitive culture?
Lindsay, I'm no fan of the super PC culture, but I do believe that if things are intentionally offensive or directly disrespectful to a culture, then that's something we need to revisit. I think Dave Chappelle is an amazing version of a comic who takes on taboo, racially insensitive, and cultural topics and presents them in a comedic way that is thought-provoking, that is also humorous, but really makes us have to sit down and have hard conversations. That's what comedy should do. But when your intention is just to be offensive for the sake of being offensive, that's not comedy. That's somebody who actually may have some underlining racism or just an agenda that isn't in line with what true comedy should be about.
And lastly, just want to get your take on, recently we've seen several white actors like Kristen Bell and Jenny Slate walk away from jobs voicing black cartoon characters, saying that black actors should play black characters. What message does this send?
I think what they're doing is admirable because here's the truth. We need to make sure that Hollywood isn't just doing these quick fixes, but they're really addressing racism, diversity, and inclusion in a major way. There should be people of color in the writing rooms that are directing. We know some actors like Michael B. Jordan and others are doing inclusion writers to ensure that they're diverse and inclusive staffs on their projects. But like Lindsay, I look at you, you're anchoring this show as a woman of color. one of your bookers is a Hispanic woman who I had a great a moment with behind the scenes. It's a multicultural environment on this show, and we need more of Hollywood to reflect that. I had a good conversation one time on the set of Good Morning America with Michael Strahan, and I jokingly told him, I said, I really hope that you get tired of taking all the jobs that you're taking so someone like me can get a full-time job in TV. And the truth is that sometimes in Hollywood, they develop their creatures of comfort, and they'll recycle the same 4 or 5 Black household names for every opportunity. But Hollywood it is now time for them to invest in the Ryan Seacrest, the Regis Philbin, and the Tom Bergerons of tomorrow. Invest in our community, diversify all aspects of the operation, and that's how you keep yourself from being in these predicaments where 10 years from now, you're having to scrub your shows from TV networks.
You're right. Michael Strahan has like 10 jobs, but we appreciate
There's more jobs than the law should allow, Lindsay.
That's right. There needs to be a limit on that. Jawn, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. We always appreciate it.
Anytime.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.